So we've spoken about the definitions, we've got the theory. Let's talk about some of the practical implementation of Stoicism. And you've mentioned in the beginning as well that a lot of these practices have now been adopted by cognitive behavior therapy as well. What are some easy routines, habits, exercises that people can incorporate into their daily lives that will help them practice Stoicism and hopefully improve their lives?
There are a lot. I actually co-wrote a book with my friend Greg Lopez entitled A Handbook for New Stoics that actually details a lot of these techniques that are useful depending on what you think you need to improve. For instance, let's say you have, maybe you recognize that you have an anger management issue. Then there are some Stoic exercise you can do for that. But the two that I find most useful are one deals with the fundamental rule that we just discussed, and the other one is called philosophical journaling. So the fundamental rule, every time that I face a difficult situation, a potential setback or a challenge of any kind, I either mentally, if I don't have the time to do it in writing, or in writing, I can sit down and put it on a piece of paper. I prepare a simple table with 2 columns. What here and now is up to me on the left column, and what is not up to me. So one of the last times that I used this technique was I went to the airport and the flight was canceled, right? So, of course, people react in all sorts of different ways. Some people get upset and angry. Some people start shouting at the person behind the desk as if it was their fault, and as if shouting somehow makes a new plane appear out of the blue, that sort of stuff. Yeah. So as a Stoic, what do? You sit down for a minute, you put up a pen and paper, or you do it on your tablet, or as I said, if you don't have that kind of thing available, you can just do it mentally. And you say, okay, what's up to me and what is not up to me? And in the particular case that I'm talking about, it turns out it's like, well, what's up to me here is to use the app for the airline that I just canceled the flight and rebook myself. That's the first thing to do. That's up to me. It's right there. It's possible. And sure enough, that's the first thing that I did. What else is up to me? Well, once this is secured, I'm going to have now 3 hours at the airport. Yeah. So what's up to me is to catch up with some work, or pull out a book that I was reading, or head to the bar and have a conversation with my wife who was traveling with me, that sort of stuff. Those are all up to me. What is not up to me? Change the schedule of the airline. That's not up to me. Fix the problem somehow. That's not up to me. Mm-hmm. Arrive at the original destination in time. That's not up to me either. So all of those things are not up to me. And once you have this list in front of you, it does 2 things. First, because you focus your attention on the first column, the left column, the things that are up to you, now you have agency. One of the things that frustrates people when there is a setback or a challenge, especially an unexpected one, is that they feel powerless. And if you feel powerless, you get upset, you get angry, you start shouting, you get anxious, whatever it is. But by making that list, now immediately you have 3, 4, 5 things that actually you can do. And doing things to improve or solve the problem immediately makes you feel better. Yeah. The list on the right is all the stuff that I just need to get out of my mind. Mm-hmm. At this point, once it's on the list, I don't care anymore. I had an appointment and I was scheduled to deliver a lecture. Well, it's not up to me now to deliver the lecture on time. It is up to me to notify the person if I can, right? But it's not up to me, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to, and if I see that my mind is going in that direction and begins to be anxious or worried or something like that, I go back to the list and I say, wait, that thing is not up to me, and therefore it really is none of my concern. Not in the sense that I don't care, I don't give a crap about it, but in the sense that I cannot do anything about it. So why waste my time, mental energy, emotional resources on that sort of stuff? Now, of course, when you start doing it early on, initially when you start practicing, this is easier said than done. Yeah. I mean, the technique is pretty simple, but the effects are not quite that immediate. You still do get a little bit upset. You still do get, a little bit worried. But the more you do it, it's like everything else with practice. The more you practice, the more you do it, the easier it actually gets. The second technique that I find very useful, and I do it actually pretty much every day, is sometimes it's referred to as philosophical journaling or simply journaling. it's a little bit like keeping a diary, but there are some major differences. First of all, I usually do it in the evening before going to bed. It takes 5 minutes. It's not a big deal. I open my laptop or my tablet, and I say, okay, what happened today that was challenging or that might have gone better if I had acted otherwise? And I pick 1 or 2 episodes during my day. So for instance, probably tonight you're going to be in my journal, right? Because they're going to say, okay, well, there was
hopefully positive.
Hopefully positive, but it's going to be, well, that's a challenge because you want to do a good interview, you want to have a good conversation, you want to be helpful to people that are going to be watching or listening to this, et cetera, et cetera. So that is a challenge.
Yeah.
And tonight I will ask myself, okay, so first of all, how did it go? Did you do things in the best way possible? If so, great, excellent. If not, what did you do wrong? And why do you think you went wrong on this or that or the other? The point is not to regret or to relive the situation emotionally. It's simply to analytically go through it and try to learn from your own mistakes as well as from your own successes. Oh, that worked very well. So why? Because I want to be ready for the next time.
Yep.
This kind of thing is going to happen again. In our life, situations repeat. Mm-hmm. So maybe today you got upset with your partner and, because whatever it is, something happened. Well, that might happen again. And so it's good for you to go over for a few minutes what happened, how you reacted, and most importantly, how you could have handled the situation better, because the next time, that way you're mentally prepared. There are a couple of tricks on doing this. First of all, don't be exhaustive. This is not a diary where you put down, today I ate for lunch, blah, blah, blah. It's only you focus on 1 or 2 episodes that are challenging or ethically salient. Number 2, you use analytical language, not emotional language, because the point is not to relive the whole thing emotionally. The point is to learn from it. So you need to be detached. And number 3, and modern cognitive behavioral therapists would agree with this suggestion, you write in the second person as if you were writing to a friend. So you say, oh, you today did this.
Like Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, like Marcus Aurelius, exactly, in the meditations. Well, there is good evidence that what that does, good modern evidence, scientific evidence, that what that does is, again, it helps you detach yourself emotionally. If you're writing as if you were writing to a friend, you presumably you're not going to upset with the friend because you're trying to help the friend. You're trying to be, constructive. You're not gonna yell at the friend, but you might yell at yourself.
Yeah.
And so when you initially feels a little awkward, I have to say, when I started doing this several years ago, it's like, wait a minute, that feels really strange.
Talking to yourself.
Yeah, talking to yourself in the second person, like, what the hell? But it actually does help. And the more you do it, as I said, I do it pretty much every day. You don't need to be that constant in the exercise. But what that does, among other things, over the long run, it creates a record of your challenges, your setbacks, how you dealt with it. If you do it electronically, like on a computer, then it becomes searchable. And so you can find patterns about your own behaviors. Like, okay, well, how many times the word anger, let's say, shows up in this thing? Oh, it turns out early on it showed up several times, but recently it doesn't. So perhaps if I had an anger issue, then that actually has improved, that sort of thing.